Hi, welcome to Bold and Blissful Woman, where we help you connect with your feminine essence to create the extraordinary life and love you desire. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Tatia Dee. She's a life and love coach who helps women connect with their power to love. Welcome, Tatia. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Welcome, Nicole. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Could you explain to the viewers a little bit about what you currently do and what our talk is going to be about today?
I help women reconnect with their feminine power. And so through my coaching, I basically get a woman to focus on herself and what she's feeling in the moment in order to respond. Feminine is about responding. We're so used to doing. So feminine is about responding and receiving. What we're going to focus on today is there's a negative voice that we have, and the negative voice is a masculine, like a protective pattern that we have. And we're going to talk about how to quiet that negative voice, how to deal with it in a very feminine way so that you can still continue to respond and receive in a feminine way without these masculine patterns coming in and taking over and making you be masculine again. So I'm so excited. That's really cool. I love the topic.
Yeah, it's an amazing topic. And I would just like to, make a call to something that we were talking before we started this interview. You were talking to me about how the feminine is the answer to reconnecting back to love. Can you explain a little bit about that? Because I know that we're going to be talking about how to neutralize this negative voice, which is the masculine with the feminine. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. When you're connecting to love, it's between the masculine and the feminine. And what happens is the feminine, imagine a small little bubble, right? And there are two hearts in there. And you have the feminine heart and you have the masculine heart. And so it's a natural connection, it's a natural attraction. The feminine heart leans back away from the masculine heart, creating space. And so the masculine heart, is masculine, they can't help it. They're naturally attracted, they're naturally drawn in. So the masculine heart closes in space that the feminine heart has just created by leaning back. That leaning back motion is a feminine motion. When you're in your feminine, you're experiencing, you're doing, excuse me, you're not doing, you're being, you're just enjoying. So that's leaning back. When you're in your masculine and you're making things happen and you're taking care of your business, you're leaning forward, you're making things happen. You can't do that in love. That's the point. You can't do that in love. The masculine tendencies in love is that's what men do. They're attracted, they're drawn, they pursue, they go after, they make things happen. You can't attract a man by acting masculine. You have to act feminine because it draws him in even more. He's attracted even more. He's got to have it even more, whatever it is that he's seeing of the feminine. He's got to have it even more. And when you're in your feminine, you're leaning back, you're creating that space for him. And so this is what happens in love. I always use that description so that a woman can get the idea, okay, this is why I'm leaning back. This is why I'm not doing the things that are normally masculine, the things that I normally would do. Like I would call him, I would pick him up, I would pay for the lunch, or I would pay for the dinner, or I would question him, where's this relationship going? No. We don't do that. What we do is we lean back and we let him pursue. We let him say, I want to take you out. I want this relationship to go to the next step. It's all in the process of letting his attraction come towards you. Let him make the movement. And that's why the feminine works instead of the masculine. The masculine repels him.
That's beautiful. And I know personally speaking, because I was a queen of the masculine years ago, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I would approach every single man. I was like, I need to do this. Like, I would be my negative voice would be constantly telling me, how can I perform better? Right? Like,
Yes.
how can
Yes.
I showcase, my worthiness in a better light. I was trying to perform and do all these sort of things that weren't helping me. It's no wonder that I didn't have any dates or anything. And people would be like, but I don't get it. Like, you're beautiful, everything. But they had no idea the way that I was showing up in love, right? So there's this concept that I had to understand, because sometimes whenever I would hear, like, you have to lean back, you have to do this, you have to let him do it, there's this sense of losing control that happens inside of your mind that you're not comfortable with. So I know that you mentioned earlier on, and I just would like to make this like very clear and create this space for this conversation, that when you're leaning back into your feminine, you are connecting with your power to love. It's not something that you have to do, because there's no like hidden purpose there. It's just that you're connecting back to your power to love. And what I've seen too is that men feel more loved when you allow them to pursue you.
Yes.
And I think that's very important to mention. So in terms of that negative voice in general, like, we all face it, right? Like,
Yes.
There's a big difference between being in your head, in your mind all the time, versus being in your body. So could you please start to talk about a little bit of, why is it that as women we tend to be so much in our mind, questioning our decisions, or listening to that negative voice in our minds instead of trusting ourselves more?
When we are in our minds, the mind is the masculine. The mind is making things happen, getting things done. And what we have to do is we have to drop down into our body, and we have to feel. Our mind takes us into the future. Our body keeps us in the present, here, now, the moment. And the reason we have to be in our body is because if you're in your mind, okay, what should I say? What should I do? What is he thinking? Where is he going? Why is this happening? And instead, in your body, you're like, wow, this doesn't feel good, or this feels great, or I'm feeling confused. I want this, but I want that. And it's a more authentic response to a man. It's a more authentic response to being your feminine. But being in your head, in the thinking, it's a negative response, because sometimes it'll be contrary to what you really feel. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling upset or something like that, in your mind you would say, you know what, he's wrong. He's wrong. I'm going to make him wrong. I'm going to punish him, or I'm going to do something passive aggressive, or I need protection. I need protection is the main feature of the negative voice. And it's like a little girl saying, no, I need some protection. Somebody help me. I'm going to cover up and hide myself. Boom, there goes your wall. That's what the negative voice is. It's a wall. And what we try to do is you can't deny a part of you. And if like you were describing what you would do, that was your masculine. That's what you would do. And it's a pattern. And so what we have to do is we have to embrace that pattern. Okay, I feel myself about to do this again. And I feel myself leaning forward. What am I feeling? What is this? And what we do in the negative voice, we have an exercise that we actually do. And we reach inside of us. You get into your body, you go from your head to your body. Where am I feeling this? What's going on with me? Okay, I'm feeling it in my chest. I'm going to reach into my chest. I'm going to pull this feeling out, and I'm going to face it. And we go through this whole process of naming it, identifying what it looks like, and then we embrace it, and we speak to it, and we say, thank you, because there's a message it's giving you. Thank you for telling me that he's wrong. Thank you for telling me I don't trust him. I hear you. I love you. You're always going to be a part of me. And I'm in charge. And this is what we do with the negative voice. We let the negative voice know that I'm in charge. I'm never going to try and get rid of you. And I can handle this. And I always tell my clients, you're taking the negative voice from behind the driver's seat, from behind the wheel, and putting her in the back seat because she's no longer going to drive your response when this feeling comes up, when this trigger comes up. You are no longer going to have this negative masculine response. It's a part of you, so you're going to say, thank you, I hear you, I acknowledge this, I embrace this, but we are going to do this in a feminine way. I'm not going to respond in a masculine way anymore. And that whole process that I just described to you is the process of going from your mind to your feelings. Do you see? You're not doing anything with anyone else. You're not making something happen. Instead, you're processing. So dealing with the negative voice is processing. And in that moment, it takes you from your masculine into your feminine. And being in your feminine and functioning from your feminine is your power to love. It's knowing that it's from the feminine I have my power. From the feminine, I can interact with any situation and any man.
That's beautiful. And I wanted to ask you, so is there a good moment to operate from your masculine or to be in your mind?
Absolutely. If you're dealing with work or kids, here's the deal. Your masculine, we all have masculine and feminine. Your masculine gets your feminine where she needs to be. Let's say you have a date or you're going out with your guy and you get all dolled up, you get pretty, you put on your favorite dress, you put on your perfume and your makeup and all of your jewelry. That's your masculine. That your masculine is getting this done. Your masculine is getting you ready to go. And once he says, okay, let's go, or he comes and picks you up, boom, your feminine is on. Okay, the girl is where she needs to be. In business, you run a business, so there are things you've got to get things done. You've got to get your autoresponders done. You've got to do your advertising. That's your masculine. You've got to get it done. But then when you interact with people, you can be in your feminine. You can do that from a feminine way. So you see, it's a balance. And my coaching is all about that balance because I am a type A woman. I have a lot of masculine power in me. I'm an attorney. I argue. I fight. But that's my profession. But how I interact, how I live, how I present myself to the world is in a feminine manner until I need to switch back to the masculine. When I'm trying to present something in court, I present it and then I stand back and smile. The feminine is always there. It's always there, but it depends on your situation. It depends on where you're at and what you need to do. But the masculine is always there. It's just inappropriate in a relationship. It's inappropriate to do things when you are in that realm with your man. Instead of, I want Italian food. It's Italian food feels so yummy right now. What do you think? It's a very different, it affects the way we speak. It affects, I stand even to strangers. When I walk up to a door and there's a man there, I just stand there. And if that man doesn't open the door, 9 times out of 10, another one will come and open it. Because I'm just, that's just where I'm at, and those kinds of things. So I just want you to see that there's a balance. And so which one do you choose? Depends on your situation, depends on what's going on, and it depends on how you feel.
Right, perfect. So what would be the right moment for you to drop in your feminine after you have been executing so much in your masculine? How do you take yourself from the masculine to the feminine in any given moment?
You focus on what you're feeling. You ask yourself, what do I feel and where do I feel it? Because it gets you out of the thinking mode. It gets you out of going forward or backwards, and it keeps you right here. Now, what am I feeling? Okay, so if I was to get into my feminine right now, I would say I'm feeling cozy. I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling that in my shoulders. I feel like I'm melting back into my pillows. And that feels just so fluffy. Okay? So
that's beautiful.
do you see that transition?
Yeah.
You can do it at any time for any reason. It's just like a melting. It's kind of like melting from your head. This is how I always tell my clients, just slide down out of your head into your body, like dropping in an elevator. But I always think of a slide. Just slide down and leave your thoughts where they are and just slide down into your body. Okay, now you can begin to explore. What am I feeling in my body? Where am I feeling it? You know, what does that feel like? And it's really focusing on yourself, getting into yourself, letting the whole world around you. You can do it anywhere, not driving, but letting the whole world around you just continue doing what it's doing, and you get into yourself. What am I feeling? What's going on with me? And now, what is my response to my environment? And you respond from your feminine. And that's taking the transition, that next step. What am I going to say? What am I going to do to respond in a feminine way, either to the person or whatever's going on around me? It will keep me in my feminine, if that's what's required. If I need to be in my masculine, then I say, okay, well, I feel like something needs to happen here. I feel like something needs to happen. And then I would question myself, am I trying to control it in a relationship? Am I trying to control the situation? Am I trying to control the outcome? Am I trying to control him? Because if I'm trying to control him, the situation or the outcome, I need to come back to myself and control myself. I have a theory that I call movement. Leaning back is a movement. It's your spine allows you movement, right? This is why we don't need to put up walls. I don't have to put up a wall because I have the freedom of movement. I can lean back, I can step back, and I can walk away. So instead of putting up a wall, I can say, wow, this really doesn't feel good. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I need to go somewhere. I'm not going to stay here. And I walk away. So you see, I didn't have to put up a wall. I was authentic. I stayed in my truth, and I was in my feminine, and I have that movement. So you see, when I said something needs to happen, my response is movement. It's either in my words or in my actions. And that's a feminine response. I need to move. I need to go. I need to get away from here. I need some space. That's transitioning, that's like, I really don't, this doesn't feel good. Instead of putting up a wall like, oh, I can't believe you just said that to me. And you see how that's more outward? Instead, you're taking it inward, and you're responding from an inward place.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There is a question that came up to me as you were speaking. Why is it important to know where your feeling is located in your body?
That is a technique that we use to really get you out of your head, because our thoughts, our minds are very powerful. Women are powerful all over the world. We're making wonderful things happen. There's a woman running for president. There are women throughout history who have taken charge and can do things. So our minds are extremely powerful, and we make so many things happen. And it's hard to transition into the feminine. So the reason we go to what we're feeling in our body is to begin the processing of your feelings. And that's like really pushing the thoughts away for a moment and saying, wow, okay, in my body, I feel, let's say if I was feeling tense, and I felt it in the back of my leg. Wow, what does that feel like? Well, that makes me feel anxious. I feel uncomfortable. Um, and then after that analysis, there's nothing there's nothing boiling underneath. That's another reason why we go to a feeling in our body, because we get to acknowledge and face whatever it is that we're hiding, because there's always a mixture of feelings going on at any one time. You're not feeling just one thing. And so, okay, I'm feeling anxious. Well, what else am I feeling? Well, I'm feeling really bad about what I said to him the other day, and I think I've been feeling bad about it for a couple of days now. Wow. And, I used to feel that way when I was a kid. This is the process. And getting into your feelings or going into your body really takes you through that process, rather than allowing you to stay in your mind. Because when we think we're going forward or backward, when we're in our feelings, we're present, but it allows you to explore each feeling that you're possibly suppressing,
That's
that
amazing.
you're possibly avoiding. Yes, so it's a technique.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I can see where you're going. I was like, yes, this is the part that I wanted to reach, right? I know that as women, and this could be outside of love too, right? Um,
Yes.
we are afraid to be vulnerable, right? So we are afraid to look at our emotions. We,
Yes.
we focus ourselves on work. We do anything that's going to keep us from feeling, right?
Mhm.
So, and all that happens because we start to feel triggered. Any given situation makes us feel wrong and it's just uncomfortable, so we just try to like run away from it. That's one of the reasons why we may run away from relationships. One of the main reasons why we may, run away from something, like a new business opportunity, if it's new, if it's scary. Like we don't want to
Yes.
face that. So I wanted to talk to you about triggers. That's a negative
Okay.
voice. Um,
Yes.
what does a trigger actually mean?
A trigger is something that brings up something inside of you. It's something that touches, and 9 times out of 10, it's something painful or uncomfortable or scary. It's attached to a feeling, and I really don't want to say a negative feeling, because sometimes you have positive triggers. Like, oh, I'm really excited, like a kid at a carnival. I'm really excited. So I don't want to just claim it as negative. It is, I would say, an extreme or suppressed feeling. And the trigger is kind of making you face yourself. It's making you face that feeling. I don't want to feel that, whatever it is, or I can't handle that feeling, or I don't want to feel it. And instead, it's like, in order to be authentic and to be in really into yourself, sometimes you've got to face that, or at least acknowledge. I'll give you an example. I'm angry at my guy. Oh, I'm pissed. And you why are you angry? I just don't want to talk about it. Oh, I was triggered. Okay, what is this trigger? And so you're all in your head, and oh, it was my past, and when this used to happen, and the boys used to pull my hair in school, and no, no, not that. Get into your feelings. You know what? I'm angry, but I'm feeling something else. I'm feeling embarrassed. I feel embarrassed by what he saw. I feel embarrassed that he knows that I'm afraid of whatever it was. And oh wow, I felt fear. Oh wow, so I was feeling angry, embarrassed, fear. Wow, I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? I'm afraid because I don't want to be hurt. Wow, I don't want to be hurt. That makes me feel sad to be hurt. Oh wow, I'm feeling sad, but he didn't mean to hurt me. I don't think he meant to hurt me. Did I feel hurt? I didn't feel hurt. I felt sad because it reminded me of when Joey hurt me. That really hurt. But Joey's not here. This is not Joey. This is a different situation. Maybe I shouldn't treat him as if he was Joey. Maybe I should treat him for who he is. Maybe he's not trying to hurt me. So, wow, I feel when that happens, I feel embarrassed for myself. And in this embarrassment, so why do I feel embarrassed? Oh God, I feel too much. I feel embarrassed because I don't want him to know this about me. I think, but why do I want to know? I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of that. I shouldn't be ashamed of that. I love myself. I love everything about myself. That I'm not ashamed. I'm not, yes, I am ashamed. I'm not ashamed. Wow, that's something I need to explore that. I need to explore that. So do you know how I went all the way from anger to ashamed. And that's how deep I would use that specifically because I didn't want it to be clear cut. I wanted that's what happens, and so that ashamed is now where I would do the negative voice. I feel it, that shame, I feel it here. I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna face her. What is this voice of shame saying to me? The voice of shame is saying to me, wow, he's too nice. He's too nice. You should be ashamed to be with a guy like that. You don't deserve him. I do deserve him. You know what? Thank you for telling me that. You're a part of me. I love you. This the shame, and I would never try and get rid of you. I know you're only trying to protect me, but I can handle this. I can do this. I am in charge. I'm going to take you from behind the driver's seat. You go in the back seat, and I'm always going to hear you when you speak up, but in this feeling of shame, I'm not going to respond this way. I am worthy. I am enough. I am good enough for this good man. And so when I have this feeling, when that trigger comes up and the shame that's underneath all those other feelings, the anger, the embarrassment, I am not going to respond that way and I'm not going to feel bad about it anymore. And instead, I'm going to realize that I feel good and I'm going to lean back. And instead of saying something like I did before, I'm going to lean back and think of the words that I choose. I'm going to be in the moment. And if that shame comes up, I'm going to say, wow, I feel so weird. I feel so embarrassed to show you that part of myself. Ah, done. I just reached that point. I was triggered, and having processed the trigger the first time, the next time I am faced with that trigger, I have a plan. We call it a script. I have a script of a feminine message saying I'm expressing my feelings to him. I feel so weird. I feel so embarrassed to expose this side of me. You used the word vulnerable before. That's what vulnerable is opening up. So I took you through that's what I would do with a client. I would take her through that whole process and I mean, I did it easy. Most of the time we're crying, we're, getting into these deep feelings and we're going back to past harms and pains but you have to stay in the moment. And that's how you keep getting back to the moment. And that's why the negative voice is so beautiful, because it's a vessel to get you there. It's a process to get you deep into whatever you're feeling right now so that you can change that pattern. You can change your response. Remember, the feminine is in receiving and responding. You can change your response when you're triggered. So what a trigger is just getting you, the trigger makes you feel it. And from there, you process it with the negative voice so that your response will be feminine instead of masculine. I know I went around and deep into that, but that I wanted the trigger isn't just about what happens. The trigger is about what you're feeling and what it's causing inside of you. That's more the power of the trigger is what's going on inside of you, not who did it and what did it. It's about you. Okay?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love that you went in so deep around that, right? And I know that you mentioned a key word here, and I would like for us to expand a little bit further on this, it's you mentioned the word pattern. What happens when you don't go that deep exploring your trigger? What's the potential danger of that?
Oh, wow. Okay, I could give you a beautiful example. I have a pattern of shutting down. I will not talk. I will not speak. It's called silent treatment. Okay, that's my pattern. It's the silent treatment. And I will sit there and just stew. I mean, like a high heat stew. So that's a pattern of a protective response. It's a masculine response because I am I am shutting down all communication. I am no longer open and vulnerable. I am closed and shut off. And a pattern means that I continuously do this. A pattern means that I retreat to this masculine feature within myself, and it makes things not happen in a relationship or just in a feminine way. It shuts me down. It's a masculine. That's an example of one of my masculine patterns. Is I shut myself down. I'm no longer flowing and experiencing and being and creating. I have shut down. That's another example of a pattern is screaming. Anger. You have a lot of women, they start screaming and they're angry and and you're just letting whoever it is have it, and you're cursing or whatever it is. You're not expressing your feeling. Instead, you're in a pattern of attack. That's an attack pattern. And so these patterns push love away. These patterns push the man away. These patterns close us down from our feminine and keep us in our masculine. They keep us from going deeper into our truth. It's a pattern is like a loop. You never get out of that loop. You continuously circle the same ground where you've been. You do not progress. You do not go onward. You do not go upward. Instead, you stay. You retreat. As a matter of fact, I take a step back when I stay in a pattern. So the whole point in doing the negative voice exercise is to break the pattern. The whole point in feeling our feelings in our bodies, dropping from our mind into our bodies and exploring our feelings within our bodies is to break that pattern. So a pattern is, we're stuck. A pattern is a continuous, repetitive response. And it's the same response. It's almost robotic. When this happens, I get into this pattern of shutting down, and there is no progress. And when we do not progress within ourselves, our relationships crumble. They crumble. The relationship with anyone. I mean, you're feminine. You can be in your feminine with a family member. You could be in your feminine with a coworker. It's not just relationships. It's in all aspects of life. And when, let's say I was to shut down whenever I was triggered, and my pattern is to shut down. It's an old pattern. If I do that, I can't be successful. I can't have good interpersonal relationships. I can't interact with people on a regular basis. I cannot resolve conflict. Okay? That means I'm shutting down. There's no resolution. Or, oh God, don't even try and deal with her. She's just going to stonewall you, when she gets upset. So the idea for us to flourish, for us to grow as women, and just to grow in our ability to interact in the world and do good in the world, we've got to face our patterns and break them. And that is what the negative voice really helps. It gets you to that core. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, and I start crying when I'm coaching my clients because I didn't mean to make you, and it's to break a pattern sometimes can be painful.
True. I just think that when we are in a cycle, or when we are in a pattern or the loop that you mentioned, what happens is that, we keep ourselves away from the present, from actually seeing the person in front of us. So we're just replaying something, and we're like living under an illusion, right? Yeah. So for me, that's the real danger, because I feel that it keeps us in a cycle of feeling that we have to protect, that we are being attacked. And it also keeps us in our mind, which only reinforces a cycle of attack, right?
Yeah.
Have you
Yes.
ever had that moment where you're like, well, my ego voice or this negative voice keeps talking to me in a negative way, and I don't know, my main response is to attack it back, right? To just say
Yeah.
like, no, that's not true, or well, maybe it isn't, and then I just think like it gives it even bigger force.
Yes. It does. And the best way to respond to that is to stop. That's the key. Stop or pause, whichever one works best for you. Stop, pause, and get into your feelings. I feel confused. I feel overwhelmed right now. Um, I will, and this is what I'm saying to someone. I'm feeling confused. I'm feeling overwhelmed. At this moment, I need a moment to process, and I will get back to you in a minute, or I will get back to you tomorrow. I promise. But right now, I'm feeling a need to process this. I'm feeling triggered. I need to process this, and I promise I'll get back to you. And so, 9 times out of 10, a man would be like, "Well, can we talk about this now?" I'll be like, "Just give me a minute. I need to take a walk." And maybe he says, "I'll walk with you." And so you see how I'm sharing my truth, that I need to process something. And so when, yes, it does happen to me when I get triggered and I just can't do that negative voice thing, or I do it and I keep coming up with other negative voices. And I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm freaking out. And so I have learned to say, I can't deal with this right now. I'm a little overwhelmed. I need air. I need to get outside. I need a moment. I need to get back to you. Do you see how I'm expressing it? Me in this moment, what I feel, I'm expressing it. And it is my resolution. It's my resolution to not getting into my pattern. It's my resolution to not shutting down. I've got to process this, because I know if I don't, I know I'm about to shut down, and I'm not telling this person that I'm about to shut down, but I know that I'm about to shut down and I don't want to shut down. So what I'm going to do is I need some movement. I need to get out of here. I need to go for a walk, maybe do a little exercise, or just be outside. I need to breathe. And it's not the answer of going deep and exploring everything, because I can't at that moment. I can't do it. And but it's still responding in a feminine way. It's getting myself in the moment and sharing my truth with that person. Right now, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm probably crying at this point. I'm like, oh, I can't deal with this. I need a moment. You either go to the lazy room. I normally need air. I'm going to go outside and recollect myself. In that process of recollecting myself, I'm doing the negative voice again. I'm really going, okay, T, what's going on here? What is it? It's like, oh, this happened, that happened, or maybe I'm experiencing something else. Maybe something else prevalent within me. Maybe something else is going on. And do you see how we could take out other things on other people? Do you understand? What if I had a conversation? What if I saw something that reminded me of a family member who's no longer with us, or a family member who's really sick? And I am overwhelmed with grief or sadness or loss, the fear of loss. And, and your guy wants to be playful, and he wants to, pull your hair and tackle you. You know how guys are. They get very hands on, and you're just not in the mood. And instead of being like, you're a jerk, why do you keep doing that? Instead, you be like, babe, I'm just feeling so. And I would probably share with him, wow, I saw this thing and it just made me think of my auntie, and she's sick in the hospital, and he'd be like, oh wow, I'm sorry, babe, or oh, I didn't realize that. Do you see how you can sometimes, without processing it, if you can share your truth a little bit, and that also helps you in that moment when you can't go that deep, when you can't get out of the negative voice. It's like, okay, she's behind the wheel, the negative voice is behind the wheel, and we're about to hit a wall. Everyone get out of the way. It's
Yeah.
it's something bad's about to happen. You are expressing your truth. that is my answer to when you cannot control, when you can't get out of this negative voice, when you're stuck in a masculine pattern, is the truth. I feel out of control. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I need air. So you notice I didn't process anything. I didn't process anything. I'm just saying I need to get out of here. I need a moment. I need to take a walk. I need coffee. Normally for me, I need coffee.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
And so, but do you see how, and you become endearing. People get used to that. They get used to you expressing that.
I just think that we have been living in such
Did I lose you?
So welcome back. We had internet issues. So you were talking about how you become endearing when people get to see that side of you.
Yes, when they see that respond, you're clearly in distress, or you're clearly having some kind of something going on, and instead of shutting down or attacking, you become endearing because it's like, I need coffee, I need to take a walk, can I get back to you, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And they're like, wow, she's different. The way she responds is different. She doesn't do things the way other women do. You know, that's really, you become endearing because it's your feminine. You're giving a feminine response at the moment, even though you're possibly in turmoil. You know, I need to process this. Something's going on with me. And I'm quick to say, I need a walk. I need coffee. I need something. I have to deal with something, or I feel overwhelmed. How many people say that? You know, most of the time we attack or we shut down. Instead, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And the response that I get is, you're not alone. You're
so
not
beautiful.
alone. Yeah. But that makes you endearing because people know that she's going to be genuine. She's going to speak her truth. You know, and they understand when you can't process something. They understand when you're feeling like, it's human. It's human. And so you're sharing your humanness. You're sharing something that's, universal. And if you're with an enlightened person, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about reaching that level. Or if you're with the person who you're connected to emotionally or by the heart, they're like, okay, she's being real. This is raw tea right now. And wow, that's just her. And my point is your response to them is feminine. Your response, they recognize it as soft. They recognize it as real. They recognize it as woman, as open. And it's not the ugly side. It's not the attack side. It's not the shutting down side. It's the truth. And now you get to see the type of person that you're dealing with. So is this an enlightened person? Is this person a member of your tribe? Is this person, on the same page as you, on the same wavelength? If it was my best friend, she'd be like, okay, come on, we need to talk. Come on, let's talk. That's the kind of that's the kind of response people feel to you being in your feminine. They want to help you. They want to reach out to you. They want to explore. Or come on, let's get that coffee, girl. Come on. Or the guy will come back with coffee. Guys, you'd be surprised how many men come up to me with cups of coffee and says, I need coffee.
Exactly.
And that's the endearing part. That's the endearing part. That they know this is one of my responses. This is Miss In Control, Miss Powerful, Miss Beautiful is unwinding. She's unraveling right now. She needs coffee, or she needs a walk, or she needs ice cream. It's something that she needs, but that's the endearing part. You see, they're like, okay, and it makes you. It's endearing because it makes you real. It makes you woman. You're having instead of going, it's my cycle and this. No, I feel overwhelmed. I can't deal right now. I need a walk. I need coffee. And
that's beautiful. And the thing that comes up for me is that you want to be with a man that responds to your softness with that
Yes.
same level of trust, openness, and that desire to take care of you, of your emotions in the moment, right? So I think
Yes.
that's a beautiful
Yes.
thing to see. I think that everything is a mirror. Like when we are attacking all the time, especially our partners, they will respond in attack, right? Because I feel like whenever you're judging somebody or just pointing fingers at them, the behavior that bothers you so much will continue because people will not want to let go of that behavior because, they're truly not, connecting with you, or they're not understanding because everything is at a superficial level. And the answer is always to go within, right? So I
Yes.
think that's beautiful.
Yes. Yes. And
Thank
your response will be from that.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just a healing process. It's way
Yeah.
more gentle, than an entire process of attack. And your body, it reflects in your body because your body will feel better. It won't
Yeah.
feel like it's in a constant state of, having to defend itself. Even from
Yes.
your own thoughts, right? Because you're just creating like, war in your mind.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, you are creating war. You're creating this environment, and instead, if you just answer your body, respond to, get into your body, and say something's welling up inside of me. Something's going on inside of me. What is it? Can I process it now? If I can't process it now, let me express. I need a moment. I need to go, or whatever it is when that negative moment hits.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and they hit off. Yes.
Thank you so much for
You're
this
welcome.
interview, for your feedback and everything. It was just fabulous. I think we had a wonderful conversation on how to deal with that negative voice and why it's just simply healthier for us as women to deal with it with, love. So I know that you have a very special gift for our viewers. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what this gift is?
Is my report, how to reconnect with your feminine power, and it also includes a video series. I have a whole bunch of videos where I go into the different aspects of reconnecting with your feminine power, and so the videos accompany the free report. And so I just hope everyone loves it and goes through it, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. So thank you so much again, and we'll be talking soon.
um,